Liu Xiaodu es director y fundador de Urbanus, una de las firmas más influyentes de China, curadora del pabellón chino en la 14ª Bienal de Venecia. En la actualidad, Urbanus es uno de los estudios de arquitectura más influyentes de China. Han trabajado en proyectos de diferentes escalas y funciones, que cubre desde proyectos culturales, residenciales, espacio público, renovación de centros históricos y oficinas gubernamentales, y hasta proyectos urbanos de gran escala. Con ustedes, Liu Xiaodu.
Thank you. Good noon, everyone. It's my great honor to talk to you guys about something what happens in the other side of the world. My name is Xiaodu Liu from Urbanus. I have to skip this one. I have to introduce a little bit the partners of the company. The left one is called Meng Yan, me, and standing Wang Hui, who's in charge of our Beijing office operation. And Meng Yan and I mainly stay in Shenzhen, the city close to Hong Kong, and we do the design research. And today, briefly will talk about what we have done in Shenzhen, the project research about the city, about the architecture, particularly the topic of density. Start from here, I would talk about this map. I also grabbed it from the Google Earth. It's very clearly can tell the situation in China geographically, and you see this is the one of the dash line actually divided China into the east part and the west part, and actually the 70% of the people and also most of the major cities actually are located in the east side, and the west side mostly leave the wide, the wild land. So this is something as China, it's a reality, and also we'll say almost like half of the population, or 30% of the population, actually, living along the coast, particularly three major regions. The top one is Beijing, Tianjin, Tangshan. It's a tri-city area. All the political, education, cultural, financial, everything is in the center, the strongest one. And in the center, it's called the Yangtze River Delta, head by the city called Shanghai, and everybody might know. This one has the strongest economy because it has a very large group of cities, more than 40 of them. Most of them are the population close to 1 million. Of course, Shanghai has almost close to 20 million people. And this one actually we call is a Pearl River Delta area, which has the several major cities. We heard a lot of talk about Hong Kong is a major one, and also the adjacent city, the border city, which is called Shenzhen, where we located, and also the other one to the west is called Guangzhou, Zhuhai, and Macau, those cities, and also there is a city called Dongguan in between. So there's a very big economy, the strongest in China for its industrial part. So you see this is mostly what we have just right now, and this is the red part is the city called Shenzhen, and Hong Kong is right here. So the story of Shenzhen actually becomes with this man. It's called Deng Xiaoping, and he actually grabbed the power in 1976, and in 1979, and he decided, he is the main guy to push China, to open the door, and it has an open door policy, as well known. So the government of China actually designated 24 some kind of, let's say, open window cities, and they finally designated 4 cities called special economic zones. Those economic zones, and one goes to, this one point to like Xiamen, point to Taipei. This one Shantou, the point to Tainan, and in Shenzhen it is actually work for Hong Kong, and Zhuhai was work for Macau. So actually, this is starting like the early 1980s, and actually it's only Shenzhen becomes a very strong economic city. It's a most successful special economic zone that the policy worked. And then it's the story we call Shenzhen used to be a small fishing village. It's not really true. It's because it's a border town. In 1979, this area actually has something more than 300,000 people, and 35 years later, it exploded into called the Shenzhen city with 15 million people. So this is somehow, you see what happens at that time in early 1980s. This is the main road from Guangzhou to Shenzhen. So this is the spot you can see there is a big building, so that's a sign you entered Shenzhen. And this is basically what Shenzhen looked like in 1979. Some people took this photo, and suddenly, in 30 years later, it becomes a metropolitan city. So this is more like very close to what the population in Mexico City. Well, I believe it's several millions short, but it's very it's a very strong economic powerhouse now. This becomes the fourth strongest economy, counting the city behind Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. So this is a very stunning story. So, and everybody knows this guy, Ram Koolhaas, and he has in 1990s he has when he teaches in GSD, Harvard University. He had lead the group of the graduate students, and did some research and wrote a book called Great Leap Forward, mainly focused on this Pearl River Delta area, especially for a lot of pictures and data for Shenzhen. I took this picture from the book, and it actually showed in 1985, there's the yellow part is actually showing the urbanization part for the whole Pearl River Delta. This is Shenzhen. It's very much developed, and this is the Guangzhou area. So, and when they finished the book, the time was 1995. So this is you see, the Shenzhen has kind of expand its city boundary into the inland part, and also the city expand along the Pearl River the area, and so there's no anything else now. So I asked my guy to use a similar way to do this. What happens right now? So you see that the Shenzhen is very much like this, and all the city actually is connected. Actually the red part is also early urbanized area too. So it's again and again it's doing the thing. So and then in large, this map to the Shenzhen area, which is, this is the Shenzhen, this is the actually Hong Kong. You see a large of the land that still remain undeveloped, but the Shenzhen is almost covered everything. So when we zoom in into this Shenzhen map, we'll see actually there is a lot of large development still going on. It used to be this area, and this is the Hong Kong, the first border control area. So this is the Shenzhen is first developed in 1980 and 1990s. So we call the Luohu City Center in 1990 was the main center. Then from that time on, it goes west, go west, and we found this CBD in year 2000 and started building it for like 15 years. It's almost done. Then it pushed into this called the Nanshan CBD, and then right now we have a very aggressive plan to get this called the Qianhai New Town, which we're going to have 25 million square meter kind of the whole construction during, in almost 10 years we'll have to be done. It's a tremendous work to do. And also, this is the big plan is already under construction. The land is already claimed and everything's ready. There are lots of people working on this area. And this yellow part, and it particularly put on, and it will show you what's going on here. It was called, this is almost the last big piece of land remained the whole Shenzhen. So the government pointed as called the super headquarter area. They try to grab those like Fortune 500 companies coming, and some of them coming over. So the total area, floor area they are going to build is about 5 million. That's going to be done in 5 years, I guess. So this is something. You see, this is not our drawings. This is our government office agency. They did the master plan. Very, I'll say, very functional. Nothing special. It just did this in a green belt, and all the red part is land can be sold to the private sectors. And this is, sorry, the image is not that clear. This is some kind of like a fast, massive a development, and it's still happening, and it's still strong. So, but the cost, we'll say, from the day one we set up the office, we returned from the United States and come to Shenzhen, found the first job. So we immediately found some very interesting phenomenon. And the urbanization is very strong and very obvious. So we start to observe the city constantly. So this city actually grow. We call it the very early phase. We call the generic city phase. And then, during 1980s, it only have 500,000 people, the population registered, and 10 years later, it grows to 1.7 million. And the large development start from until 1997, we already grow to 6 million people, and large infrastructure, highways, and those kind of things that start to build in the city. So we have 9 million people at that time. And the year of 2005, and 11 million people, and it caused a big urban sprawl and go inland. So then, of course, in the recent years, we have also experienced very serious environmental crisis, like air pollution, water, lots of things. And I'm sorry. to the year, yeah, 2014. So roughly we have a population of 15 million we reached. So it's almost like we call the originally designated a special economic zone area is already, it's gone, it's full. So the city starts urban regeneration kind of a period. So it's brings some density problem. So the city developed so fast, and originally we thought we won't be able to get so many people in, and so the FAR rate, so they set into like a 2.0 and to 2.5. They thought it's already too dense, but right now, and there's a big issue, and the government, the planning bureau, they don't actually limit any density. They don't have a limit now. So they are starting thinking, is there the time for what's called a new density? What's the new density? Can we reach the density to 5? Or can we reach the density to IFAR of 10, even higher? So this is something we're keeping thinking. And I just take the central CBD area as an example. We had a lot of work on this one. For those red dots of the building we have built, the rectangular lines, this is the place we did urban design and some large building complex design. And most of them are kind of finished and under construction. And this is something there's a central access for the CBD, and there's a small hill, 100-meter tall, that you can actually overlook the CBD area. The year of 2000 is the second year we went to Shenzhen. You see this, the CBD is empty. So no one want to any piece of land. No one believe this is going to happen. But yeah, at that time they said the planning said the time of FAR of 2.5. It is all part of a residential and mostly office building and government office buildings. So the civic center is being built 5 years later. So there are some museums, music halls. So and some buildings start to build. You see, and 10 years later, you see suddenly everything is full, and we are start building this super high tower, which is I think it's 600 some 28-meter tall, and almost reached 600-meter these days. So this is something you see very, very high. And at that time, I talked to the planning bureau lead head and say, okay, I say probably we put this FAR is too long. I think 3 points to 4 points probably prevail, because you see that we know Manhattan or they all have very high FAR in that area. So the guy said, no, we don't have it, we don't need it, and that's very good, that's enough. And then 10 years later, they raised this the every piece of land from the FAR from 4.0 to even to 7 point. I personally did a part of urban design, which is they designated for 7.0 now. So you see, we made this comparison, say, okay, maybe we can compare this city so dense, and what happens compared to Manhattan. And you see the urban fabric right here. It's from the picture you see a kind of similarity, but from the top you see the density, the texture is very different, and somehow it's kind of loose. But we don't have any way to change it, because the wide road, the building itself is the density is very, very low. So this is something and we're facing. So there's no choice for the newcomers, and the new buildings has to go tall. This is really, really high. You see, this one is a 600-meter tower designed by KPF, I think. Yeah, this is going up, and all others are 300 meters, 400 meters. There's going to have 10 of them that are building in Shenzhen in recent years. But talking about those kind of things, that there is obviously another very important thing. It's not to say everyone or every part of the city is building high-rise, is a high-class kind of a building. We also have something else. This is remember, this is in 1979. This is still rural area, so there's lots of villages within 30 minutes walking distance. Every village has a very evenly distributed inside this city. So gradually, the city builds, then and gradually they enclose the city. So it's the villages become a village inside in the city, and this is very interesting. But this is not something we saw here. And this is the place. It's very, very dense, and the farmers they rebuild their house and to rent to the new immigrants, migrant workers, and make all those area become a low-income neighborhood. And you see this is so dense, and the building is private owned, so they just build as much as big as possible, the footprint. So this is very typical. And then you see this is a CBD. There's a civic center just right beside it. So this has become some headache of the government. They really want to make it vanish. So there are lots of village buildings. We counted. There's a data saying about 350,000 village buildings within total constructed area, such as 170 million square meters, which is 6 million people living in the area. So which is very, very a big issue. And the density actually average is about 5. Yeah, we actually see, and then you can see that all the alleys, they are just look like this. We call this a handshake building. So that means one guy can shake hands from one window to another building. They can shake hands. So that brings some problems like ventilation, sun, and especially fire. This is a big problem. Fortunately, there is no any fire and ever happens during the last 30 years. It's a kind of a miracle. There's a cause. And then you see a lot of activities. We observed that it's so rich life happened. It's never happened in this gated, high-scale area, high-class gated communities. And they do have someone like a one family, 3 generations living in one room. That's a kind of a bad condition. And also they have their all different communities they found in the village. So this has become a very urgent. So in year 2005, we started study. We choose 4 villages to research what we can do to preserve this rich area. So this is the place we choose that just the picture shows. And this is the one we select at year of 2005. And when we done the research, this is already gone. And the way we thought is probably we can pick up the place. We can take off some of the buildings and make the building fill up with those gaps, and also build something on the top of it. so to maintain the same density, and also that we can increase some FAR. Then we add a little bit, add a little bit elevator. Could be that we do some rooftop thing, and so and also we can develop a second fire exit route. So this is something we did all by our own. We call it as rooftop urbanism. So and try to kind of make this a nicer area. So maybe we can preserve this area. But unfortunately, this is not going to happen in a year by year. So this is starting building 2 major shopping malls. This is last year is already done like that. So you see, this is the buildings already gone up. Used to be very low urban village, but the research it actually gave us a lot of thought, and also we talked to lots of people about this one, and gave them some visual idea. Say, okay, what's going on? You know, there used to be this kind of a so rich and crowded area, suddenly become a kind of the place no one will live in. So this is also the problem. Is you see, this is the housing price and rental pricing and happening in Shenzhen. There are lots of places super high. No any migrant worker can ever afford this kind of thing. So if we chase this one, we demolish all the urban villages. We chase those people out. It will create a huge amount of problems. A couple million people will have to commute from the suburb into the city. There's no way. So this is already very crowded subway, bus lines. It's just not going to happen. And they are going to replace the urban village with those high, very ugly apartment buildings, and sold a high price. And so and we continue to do the study and research, and finally we got a chance to find a project, and actually a client and us, which I thought maybe we can borrow some the old vernacular idea, like this one is called the Tulou in southeast part of China. And the very nice, very strong inner spirit, closed space. So this is very much like co-living, a collaborative, the kind of housing. It's very unique. So we thought maybe we can borrow this one, the idea, to see what we can do. So this is something we start, and we try to combine the Tulou idea and the urban village, kind of chaotic, some kind of a very the richness, the life introduced into it, and went through several rounds of this is the imagination, and then we finalized the design. Try to do very monolithic type of a building. The reason is we try to think maybe this is something we can do is a kind of we call it colonize, or it's like a copy this building into the city, in the city center. So for example, there's a government controlled some free area like here, like a leftover area. So it doesn't have a very high land value, so we can build something like this. Doesn't really has a requirement of this the environment. So we can build this kind of a thing in this relatively cheaper price. So we can get this FAR finally 1.5. But this is not just to say the density is not just about the pure physical FAR. Actually, we got this number of units of 290 units. Each unit actually we counted we can live in 4 people. So with 37 square meters, 4 people can live in two couples share one unit. They have a separate bedroom. So this is already big improve. This is the typical floor plan we are developing. So this is something we start do this called research about what's called a minimal living way. So this is something we call that even we have a 1.5 FAR rate, but this is more what we call the occupancy efficiency actually is a fourfold than this conventional housing unit. So then we compare. This is actually we can reach some kind of equivalent to 6.0 kind of density. Actually, there's over 100,000 people living in this small single building. Those will be something. This is especially for the migrant workers, low-income people. The first coming to the city, they want a cheap rental. So this is what it look like. It from the top is very much look like the traditional Tulou vernacular architecture, and we use the modern architecture way of organizing everything. This is the entrance, so we introduce some open space, open the shops and community area. Yeah, this is the central courtyard, and this is something last month I took. I went back and took the pictures, and you see that it's really full of life. The people are kind of happy living inside. Some people are living from every beginning, and they don't. They have their children born here. It's a very interesting area. The top one, we took the picture when they just finished, and this is what happened, what it looks like right now. And a lot of the things we did, a lot of research we called a post-occupation study. So this is something we constantly go back to do the survey and the research. And this is something we start to gain some experience with. Not only the housing could be like this, and what happens if the commercial larger complex development, what we can do about that. And this is something that we have done the design 2 years ago, and now it's under construction, is almost reached to the level of here. We got this commission is like SOM did this two big towers. The Hong Kong office did residential. This Miami firm called Architectonic did this shopping mall down there, which the footprint is about 30,000 square meters. So they also can build something on the top of the shopping mall, on the rooftop. So this is something we got. The idea. It's right here. So you see the two parks already. It's situated in the two parks. So this is very nice. And even we have like a two-story shopping mall. We can have the chance to bridge this from the rooftop to bridge the two small mountains, small hills. So. And to make the central part as a small town, and we try to develop it as like a Soho office building and a commercial area, something like this. This is what happened. So this is something we actually borrowed this urban village idea that we try to upgrade it into something better, and even it's a fancy place. And you see this office building here at a hotel, and it's an office building, it's a residential loft. This is a hotel, and in the center is a small lofts and open air shopping streets, those kind of things. This is a very rich kind of area. And we thought this is something only can happen in China. Once the density has this requirement, they start to build things on the top of the shopping mall. Sorry, don't have much time. And this is something you can clearly see from the section, and this is the third level. So actually, we have lots of different it's kind of a small town-like things happen on the build on the top of it. So this is something we're working on, and yeah, right. So this is under construction already, and also we thought we developed some kind of a new type, a new building type. So this is something we're really expecting to see what's going on and what happened. Yeah, and within this kind of we thought a kind of experience successful. So actually we start to think about this large building complex that happened in the already built area. This is the area we are working on. The client come to us. They have already built a shopping mall and something else, and they thought that the density is not high enough. They come ask us, can we do what kind of a density we can reach, So this is the area they gave us. See what we can do for that place. And then the shopping mall and some other places that are already settled right here. So this is something we gave 3 proposals. The first one is what's called a redefined a boundary, because this is more like a city boundary. There's a big park, very much like a Central Park, New York. Then we are study if we can actually adding something a little bit more and actually take advantage of this the park, and this is something we actually done. It's more conventional, and further we try to think, okay, this is some kind of a light industrial area. They have used to be built a lot of buildings like a 5-story industrial building. Like this. So we try to think, and what if we kind of stack them up, and we make them into something smaller, and also become a huge massing, like something like this. Then we stack them together, and try to think if there is some public area can be built. For levels, the levels, and some residential can be, it can be mixed with the residential, with the work, commercial, that put them together, and there's a kind of a sky lobby, sky atrium might happen. This is also it's a proposal. You see a lot of voids, atriums can be put in here, and. Yeah, this is the second proposal we've done, and later we will think maybe we can do something more simple and stronger. So we did the third proposal called the Mega Tower. So this is something which is we have several different buildings instead of the single building. Maybe we can put the different building functions, put them together. We can dig with some kind of different shape of the void, and then become an atrium, it becomes the area. So, and enlarge the footprint, most like combine 4 high-rise buildings together, and form things like this. So then we have all multiple different functions, and we use this the buffer zone for the public use, and also introduce a lot of social life. We try to do something like this. And for example, we made this picture and say, okay, this is very high up, but it's quite nice. And, maybe we can do this kind of life to solve the density problem, and also we maintain the high quality of life and the work environment. So this is something we've done the study, research, gave the client, and yeah. And finally, we got an exercise of put all the experience we have before, and we got this large urban design proposal, and how to deal with large urban village like this. This already, this area, this is the lighted area. It's called, it's one village. It's not totally developed yet. And it's already got a FAR of 5. And the developer coming try to just demolish everything. They build something like this. This is the master plan done, a very famous American design firm. Yeah, this is going. And then we just ask the question, say, okay, we have, for this type of development, what you can gain? Okay, so you can solve what kind of problem? Okay, of course you can solve this, the GFA needs, large area you can do, but you cannot do is you cannot continue the cultural context. You cannot think with the social upgrade with this kind of master plan. And of course, you cannot do this diverse functions like the urban villages used to have. So this is something we gave them the proposal. It's divide the whole area on the north part into 5 different zones. Every zone we leave the slide area maintained urban village, some kind of structure untouched, and try to build higher density in the buildable area, so that we can. This is something we really want to do. And actually, we raised the residential building on to the sky, and people still can maintain their traditional type of lifestyle. And this is something we actually thought about, and there have different levels of public area we can use. Sorry, I'm a little bit over, but yeah, almost done. And so this is something like the red part is a commercial, purple is about the working area, and on the top we can put the apartment and the housing on the top, and to get the maximum sunlight. This is something, and then we push that kind of density into like a 10 to 15, then we can preserve something like this. Something like this is very nicely done. We really, really want to this one remain as like a history. People are, so we can build something surrounded, and we can build something, use this old building and build some new building, make some creative zone. We try to do this one to convince the client, say, okay, we can preserve something. Actually, this is much better than just wipe out the whole thing. Then you just build something, nothing special. So this is going to be we can have a lot of characters. In the end, then we selected the area we build a super high density, borrow the mega structure, mega city kind of idea. We were still trying to develop this kind of idea, say, doing something like put the different buildings, bond them together, and later maybe we have to solve some technical problem, the elevator, storage, power, those kind of things. But the people can have their own different functions, and they can enjoy some kind of thing below, on the ground. So this is something we can build like a super high density bonded building, mega building, which is, if you just calculate this one, it's simply maybe it's 15, even to 20, I don't know. But this is something we really are trying to do, and we thought this is probably only in China, in the East Asian kind of a city, we can go something like this. actually the technology, the needs, everything is ready. So this is something maybe we try to push forward. And yeah, this is about it. Thank you very much.
Hey, congrats, nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Muchas gracias. En 5 minutos
Wow,
continuaremos
shocking.
con la siguiente conferencia. Les recordamos que como parte de las
So nice to see
actividades
the
de
shocking